You thought a relationship could work with the boy that your cousin is dating? Alright, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Javell. Welcome. So today I'm doing a little story time, and I'm doing a story time while I do my makeup because I got places to be in like an hour, and this is probably the worst time to decide to film a story time while I do my makeup, but that's what we're doing, that's what we're working with. So my sister's been asking me to do a story time for a little bit, and I've been like, I don't know, because one, I'm a really private person. I don't really be telling people my business like that, and two, sometimes I have a hard time talking on camera. Sometimes I just be talking over myself and biting my tongue. Sometimes I don't know, sometimes it's just hard for me to speak on camera. But we're gonna pop off with the story time. I'm gonna be doing my makeup. By the way, I'm not good at makeup, so don't judge me. I just do enough to look okay and not look, you know, a tired mess outside. But I'm not really good, so like ain't no tutorial here. This is not that video. If you want a tutorial, go watch Aaliyah J, go watch Jackie Aina, go watch any of those other girls. But I'm not that girl. I'm not. I just do just enough. Also, don't judge my eyebrows. I need my eyebrows waxed, but I haven't been to my wax girl in a minute, but I need to. So anyway, so let's get into the video. This story time is basically about the time my cousin tried to steal my boyfriend. Yeah, this little story time is about the time my cousin tried, emphasis on tried, to steal my boyfriend, okay? Emphasis on the X, because we are no longer together. Period. So basically, I became friends with this girl my freshman year of high school, and at first our friendship was good, but then it wasn't. I don't really know, but we would just fight all the time, like literally all the time. And then we were both dancers, so like we would be like each other's only friends, and we would always hang out all the time, but we would also fight all the time, which was crazy. I feel like I didn't really have problems with her, but she would always have problems with things that I would do or something I would say. And then, oh, backstory, we're both like Jamaican, but like I'm actually born in Jamaica and she's just like American born, but like her parents are Jamaican. So like if you know anything about Caribbean people, like they have no filter. They just be popping off at the mouth. They just be saying anything. They don't really be thinking about it. And so I was kind of raised like that. And then when I moved here, I just kind of always been like that. So I didn't really know like American people are really sensitive and stuff like that. So she would always be mad at something I would say. I would hurt her feelings, or, you know, whatever. She would think I would be talking about people too much. Like it would always be something. So we'd always get in like these big ass fights. And then we would stop being friends. So there was like a lot of red flags in our friendship, being one that like she would always see other people's flaws, but like not her. She's perfect. But you're going to hell because you're not perfect, basically. And like our freshman year when we were friends, she was like a crazy Christian. And then all of a sudden she wasn't, which is ironic. Not ironic, but like it's definitely the Christian way. Like they just be pretending like, you know, the rules apply to you but not to them. Anyway, so we stopped being friends my freshman year, like at the end of freshman year for real. And then somebody in our family died, and at this time like I didn't know we were friends. I mean, I didn't know we were cousins. So we stopped being friends, and I was just like, oh, I'm sad, but like whatever. Yeah, so somebody died in our family, our extended family, and I ended up going to what's called like a wake. A wake in Jamaican culture is kind of like a party, but like it's not a funeral. Like it's like a party the day before the person's funeral. Yeah, so like you go, you congregate with your whole family, y'all cut up, y'all drink, whatever, dance. You know, basically celebration of life for the person that died. So I went there, and I was with like my grandma, my mom and stuff, and my grandma was like introducing me to all her extended family, and my grandma introduced me to her dad, which at the time I didn't know it was her dad. And then eventually, long story short, eventually I found out it's her dad and was like, oh my gosh, we're related. So I ended up hitting her up and like telling her like I met her dad and stuff, and then we realized like, oh shoot, we're cousins, like we're lit, like whatever. So we kind of started like talking again, but we weren't like hanging out as much as we used to, mostly because it was like summer and whatever. So I can't really remember what happened after. I don't think we started like hanging out once we got back to school, but something happened and we started hanging out again. And at this time we were like, it was like me, her, and a couple other girls in our friend group. And oh, what happened? Something happened. Basically, something happened. Very much something. Very much something. Okay, something happened, and she was just like, we got into a big ass fight again, and she basically told me I need to go to church, and she like slapped me with a Bible. No, she didn't slap me with a Bible, but like she gave me like a Jehovah Witness book, like the little free books. Like she didn't even give me a real Bible. Like if you want me to commit, you need to give me a real Bible. You need to. So basically we had this big ass fallout again, and then we stopped being friends. And like I said, she's just one of those people that like, they're quick to see your flaws, but they're quick not to see theirs. So we had this big ass fallout. We stopped being friends. Cool. Whatever. I had other friends anyway. Obviously, like she was like my closer friend, so like I was hurt. My mom told me even when I got my wisdom teeth taken out like a few weeks later, I was crying about how I'm sad about our friendship. Okay? I needed to be slapped. Because if only we had stopped being friends then, I could have saved myself a whole lot of heartache and drama. So moving on to senior year. So senior year, we're not friends. Actually, like we talked and stuff, but like we're not like buddies anymore. Like she had her whole own friend group by now. I had my own friend group by now. And so we would like conversate over Instagram or text or whatever, but like we wasn't hanging out. You know, she would do like her little dance stuff, and like step. She would be on the step team and stuff, and I would like support her. I'd be screaming in the bleachers because I'm a real bitch. I'm not a hater. Like any one of my friends can never say like Javell hated on them. They can never say that. If they say that, they're a damn liar and they're going to hell in a handbasket. They can never say I'm a hater. Like I'll always support whatever you do, especially if you're good at it. I'm gonna support it. If you are bad at it, I'm gonna support it still, but I'm probably not gonna tell nobody I know you. I would be supporting her from the back. So I would be supporting her and stuff, but then senior year came and she had a fallout with one of her friends, and so she basically switched her whole ass friend group, and she came into my friend group. So she switched friend groups, and she became she came into my friend group, which at that time, bitch, my friend group, they were cool as fuck. They were cool. So she switched friend groups, and she came into my friend group, and we accepted her with open arms because everybody knew, like, one, that's my cousin, two, you know, she was cool as hell. So you know, with bigger friend groups, like, they be having hella people in that friend group, and like, you know, one person in the friend group might be closer to this person, and then da-da-da, because you can't be best friends with everybody. You gotta be, you know, like, scientifically, you cannot be best friends with more than, like, one person. Because, like, you're going to have more feelings for one person than the other. Like, that's literally, like, science. Like, anyway, so I was close in the friend group with this one girl, and we kind of just became friends that year. But, like, we were definitely building, you know, a whole friendship. We were definitely, like, closer. So she came into the friend group, and then the other girls in the friend group, this other girl in there, she was, like, best friends with this other bitch. All right, let me not call her a bitch. See, that's not nice. Alright, she was best friends with this other girl, and then there's this other 2-3 trio that we ended up, like, kicking out later. But two of them were, like, sisters, so, like, it didn't really have the same effect as, like our trio is gonna have. But anyway, so I hope this is not confusing. Alright, so basically we had a bunch of girls in the friend group, and then, so this one girl, she was best friends with this other girl, okay? And then this other trio that was in our friend group, they were like really close, but two of the girls in that trio they were sisters, so it was like a different kind of love. You know, there was no jealousy there because you can't really be jealous of sisters being close. And then there was like me and then my best friend, and we're gonna call her Leah. Okay, we're gonna call her Leah. So me and Leah were like becoming best friends, and we just became friends that year. So like our relationship was growing. It was blossoming into something beautiful. And then my cousin came into the picture. Now, if me and Leah are gonna do something, I am never gonna be like, let's forget my cousin. And we're gonna give my cousin a name. We're gonna call her Nikki. We're gonna call her Nikki. Okay? And I'm never gonna like leave Nikki out because this bitch ain't got no friends. She ran them all away. Anytime me and Leah would be planning to do something, and then I was like the only person in our friend group who had her license and actually drove. So anytime we would be doing anything, I'd be like, oh, Nikki, you wanna come with me and Leah? And you know, we would always invite her because I would never want my cousin to feel left out of anything. And then I would never want, I don't know, like I just wanted to be around her. Like that's my cousin and that's my friend. Like, and she was lit as hell. So I was like, you know what? Let me invite her. Let me invite her. So every time we would go out, I would always invite her. And you know, my friend Leah, my friend Leah, she would never really care because, I mean, maybe she did care, but she never said nothing to me. She dead ass never said like, oh, I don't want Nikki to come. She never said that. But anyway, so Nikki would always come with us, and then Nikki lost her job. She lost her job, and then every time we would go out, I would always have to pay for her, or like Leah would always have to pay for her. And that's not the moves. First of all, we is 16, 17. We cannot afford to be paying for nobody else but ourselves, okay? And then I'm not gonna be paying for nobody on my mama's credit card, on my mama's debit card. I don't think so. So that happened. So then I would stop inviting her as much because we can't have it. Girl, I cannot be paying for you every single time we go out, which like sometimes it's fine. Like say I have like extra money or I worked like a shift and I just got paid or whatever, would be fine. But when I would invite Leah out, like she spoiled as hell. So she always had daddy's credit card. So she would always have her own money. She would always have her own money. Like I never had to pay for her. And if I did, she would always like pay me back. Or whatever, which, you know, wasn't always necessary because, again, I don't mind paying for some people, like, sometimes, just not all the time, because, girl, I'm literally 17, 18, girl, I'm broke as hell. So then that happened, and then this happened, like, over a progression of maybe, like, 5 months, right? So, like, I basically combusted a whole lot of events into, like, 10 minutes, but this happened over the progression of, like, from maybe January to, like, May. Or January to June. So anyway, Lord Jesus. Wait, let me see if I'm missing anything in the story. Okay, so this is basically how I met that little pendejo, that boy. This is basically how I met him, okay? So, Nikki and I had the same first block class. So, usually in high school, the class that you have for first block, at least in Virginia, the class that you have in first block, that's like the class you go to every single day. Like, you'll never not go to that class, right? Then every other class is like even odd day, whatever. So every single morning, I would have to see her, which at first, I didn't mind because, you know, this is my friend, this is my cousin, we kiki, we cut up, whatever. So, every single morning, I would see her, and after we got out of class, I went to like nursing school my senior year, so every other day I would have to go leave like that school and go to like this place called the tech center. So when we would leave class, we would walk together to like the stairway where I would go get the bus and she would go to her other class. So every day, we would see this one boy that she was friends with, and you know, she would always stop and like give him a hug, or like they would talk for a little bit or whatever. And I remember seeing that boy all the time when like the year before, I remember seeing that boy, but he would always be walking around with this like other dark-skinned girl, but like they were really cute because the school that we went to, it didn't really have a lot of black people, or like, you know, it would be mostly white people and then like black people and then a little bit of Hispanic, maybe like 2% of Hispanic people, but there wasn't like a lot of black people. And then the black people that were there, they would always date white people because especially the black men or the black boys, they'd always date the white girls. You don't really be seeing same race couples there like that. So I would always see him walking with this girl, and I would be like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. But I don't really know him. And one thing about me is I stay in my bubble. I don't be mixing with people because, girl, I don't be liking people. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like people. And back then I was like a little bit more social, but like people there were so freaking mean. So I didn't really talk to like everybody like that. Like I don't need to be knowing everybody. So anyway, so my acne is so bad lately. I don't know why. So every time we would be walking to my bus, I would always see her. Like we would be walking to my bus or like to the stairway, she would always stop and talk to this boy, and I'd be like, girl, who the hell is this? I'm pretty sure I'm missing some stuff. Hopefully I'm not. But one day I was on my way home and I was like talking to her. Actually, no, one day I was on the way home and for some reason I like found his Instagram, and he would be the first person to watch my story. First person to watch my story. Every single time I would post something, he would be the first person to watch it. And then somehow I had him on Snapchat, which I don't even know this boy's name. But somehow he got my Snapchat, and he would be the first person to watch my story on there too. So I'd be like, who the hell? So one day I texted her. So one day I texted her and was like, who's blank? I should give him a name. Let's call him Aubrey. So I'd be like, hey, who's Aubrey? And she was like, oh my God, bitch, y'all would be so cute together. Which I wasn't saying that. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know who this man was. Who this boy, emphasis on the boy, who this boy was. She was like, oh, y'all be so cute together, and like he's not with da-da-da-da-da anymore, and you know he's made mistakes, which I didn't even ask, girl. I didn't even ask if he made no mistakes or not. I just wanted to know who the hell this man was. So I didn't really elaborate on like, girl, what mistakes he made, because the mistakes better be circling the wrong answer in a Scantron. And not no damn whatever else he did that I probably shouldn't say. Yeah, so I was like, oh. And then she was like, I'll hook y'all up. And I was like, damn, okay, bitch. I don't know about all of that. Because let me tell you something about me. When I was in high school, I wouldn't say I was like a nerd, but I definitely wasn't trying to be in a boy face every day. Like, I wasn't no fast ass girl. Okay, I was just chilling. You know, I went through my phase where like all I would want to do is like read my little books, my little romance young adult novels, and live vicariously through these fictional characters. Okay, I was not trying to be in a boy face. But then I was just like, okay, which is not the biggest mistake I've ever made, probably. But I was just like, okay, So then I'm gonna skip forward, because this could probably be a whole other story time, honestly. I'm gonna skip over most part of the story because it's not really getting to the main event of what I told y'all the story time was about. And this boy, he's caused so much drama in my life that like he could have his own story time, honestly. We started dating, me and Aubrey and I started dating. And you know, everything's sunshine and rainbows and da-da-da-da. And then after like 2 weeks, we would start fighting all the freaking time, okay? All the time, which 2 weeks is too fast for a honeymoon phase to be over, okay? After that, I should have been like, goodbye. But no, my dodo bird self, I stayed in that relationship. So we'll be fighting all the time. And I told y'all, Nikki and I had the same first block class. So like, if it wasn't over text, I'd be like talking to her in first block about this idiot. I'd be talking to her about Aubrey, and I'd be like, oh, Aubrey did this. And then I told y'all about that dark-skinned girl that I would always see Aubrey walking around with. Like, my friends would text me in the morning and be like, oh, I saw them together. and he was walking her to class, or like we saw them in the hallway, and I'd be like, hold on, bitch. Why? And I would confront him about it, and he would literally be like, oh, I'm asking her for my stuff, or she has my stuff, or she saw me walking in the hallway and she started walking with me. I wasn't walking with her. And usually when men try to act like the girl's like the crazy person, you already know. You already know what time it is. You already know he done did something to her, or you know he's like telling her something to make her act this way. Like, she ain't acting like that just because she crazy. Like, no, you giving her a reason to do that. If I feel like a boy doesn't want anything to do with me, I will not be trying to walk with you in the hallway. You have to be telling me something either to my face or over via text, Instagram, Snapchat, something. Okay? So I'd be like talking to her, venting to her, like being like, bitch, what should I do? Like, what should I say? And she would like tell me something, and then like I would do whatever she told me. And then she would, I guess like because he was friends with her too and they had class together, he would always like rant to her or ask, like, you know, tell her stuff. So basically both of us were complaining about each other to her. So she went and she told him how I'm still in love with this guy that I was talking to before him, which that guy and I never even had anything. Okay, for real, that boy didn't even like me. Like, it lasted about a week, if that. Baby girl, it lasted a day. Yeah, so she went and told him how I'm still in love with this boy who we will not even be given a nickname, child, because he's just so irrelevant to the situation. Yeah, so she went and told him how I'm basically using him and I'm still in love with that boy. Oh, not my battery dying. Damn. See, I can never have nothing. And the reason why she came to this assumption was because, like, the week earlier, I didn't go to school one day because I was feeling a little sad. And it's not because of him. It was simply because, bitch, I was working, I was going to school, and I was going to nursing school. Like, a bitch was stressed the hell out. So one day, like, I was texting Aubrey, and Aubrey just went ghost. And every time I would text him, he would just, like, read my message and not respond. And I was like, what the hell? So I was, like, losing my mind. Because, bitch, what the hell did I do to you? And that's how you know somebody's immature. If they cannot speak to you and tell you what happened in a situation, they're immature as hell. So he wouldn't talk to me, like, literally 10 o'clock at night. Like, I'd be texting him and stuff. He just wouldn't respond, which, bitch, I know you was at home. Yeah, he would just not respond. Then the next day, he, like, told me how if I'm still in love with, you know, homeboy. And I'm like, girl, what the f*** are you talking about? How can I be in love with somebody that I never even dated? Okay? Bitch, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, but he didn't tell me who it came from. He just told me that he thinks I'm still in love with homeboy. So I was just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So then that was the end of it, right? We were good until, like, you know, the ex drama started again. And one thing about me is I might be a little slow when it comes to relationship because I was a late bloomer. But I'm not an idiot, okay? If somebody's with their ex, I mean, especially if it's plain in your face, you can tell, bitch. And I'm not no dummy. I'm not stupid. So, I deadass knew he was still with this bitch. But she would deadass, you know, try to convince me he wasn't still talking to this bitch. He wasn't in this bitch face, And, you know, this is my cousin. I'm like, I don't know. Right? Okay, I think that's enough powder. God damn. Wait, what happened after that? Yeah, so I didn't know exactly where, you know, the little story came from. The little story about being in love with, you know, homeboy. I didn't know where that story came from. I just thought he imagined it. I don't know. Okay? So I would still be complaining to her, not knowing the whole time this bitch is backstabbing me. This bitch is getting in this boy's head. Whole time I did not know. So one day she comes to our table and she's like, Leah, Leah, you are mean, like you be doing da 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 da. And like I told y'all, this is her personality. She be quick to see what you be doing wrong. She be quick to see, you know, what other people be doing wrong or other people's flaws. But oh baby, she is never wrong. Not her. So, yeah, she's there. She's like called my best friend mean, and you know, basically starting drama. My best friend. My best friend's like upset. You know, my best friend's trying to talk it out with her, and basically she just starting shit out of nowhere. So whole friend group, mass hysteria. It's drama. After that, basically what happened was, I went to DC because it was my grandma's birthday. My grandma wanted to go to like the African American Museum in DC. So we went there. I missed school for one day. We came back the next day, but we came back late. So by the time I came to school, it was lunchtime. Why did I even go? I don't know. So when I went, my boyfriend and my best friend was sitting at a different table than with her. So instead of going to sit with her, I just went to sit with them, and I didn't say anything to her the whole lunch. Lunch gets out, and this bitch texts my boyfriend. She's like, I'm never talking to them bitches again, da 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 da. Girl, you have my number. Why didn't you say, Javell, why you ain't talk to me at lunch? So Aubrey tells me what she said, and then somehow the topic of conversation came up about her being the messenger of the whole you're in love with the boy I used to talk to situation. Yeah, somehow that came out, and I found out she was the messenger of that message. Okay? I found out it was her. And I was like, I told her, like, oh, we need to talk, like, I'll talk to you tomorrow or something. But then this bitch was like, I'm not talking to them bitches ever again, da da da. Which I was kind of just like, okay. I mean, at least I won't have to pay back $15 for your meal no more. Like, that's fine. A whole lot happened that, like, I mean, my brain, this was literally like 5 years ago. My brain can't even go back and pinpoint every single thing that happened. But she had a boyfriend at the time, and he basically used her, and she was in distress about that. Which, girl, you know you was not supposed to be that ugly ass boy anyway. Okay? So after her and him broke up, she was out to literally ruin everybody's senior year. Like, she was just doing the most. Like, I honestly don't even know what happened. Like, I kind of understand what happened to trigger certain things, but like to the magnitude that it got was just so unnecessary. And like, bitch. Alright, so let me tell y'all. I finished filming the story time. It was great. I went to edit, and my SD card broke. So the second SD card had the second half of the story time on it. It broke. It's dead. It's deceased. It's no longer. So I no longer have the second half of the story time. I thought about refilming the entire thing, but it's just too long. It's too traumatic. I don't want to go through that again. So I thought I would just try to redo it. Okay. So obviously I'm wearing like the same outfit. Some things are a bit different. Like, my nails are done. The camera angle might be a little bit different, but I thought I would just, you know, put in the extra effort into just getting the story time done. So, content baby content, okay? So, let's get into the rest of the video. After, like, thinking about the situation when I was done with the story time, I realized a few things that I missed. Even though it's been, like, 5 years, I should have been caught that. But I missed this part, which is when before like the whole drama started and we were all like friends, my cousin would every time I would go to nursing school, she would always be like, you know, trying to be best friends with my best friend, right? She would always be posting hella pictures of her on her Snapchat, and I'd be like, you know, I would peep it, but like I'm not like a jealous friend. I would just be like, oh, we're all friends. But now in hindsight, thinking about it, she wanted to be best friends with my best friend. But then I think where she got salty was realizing that it was never going to happen. It was never going to be you. It was never going to be you. I feel like that's one of the reasons why she started being mad at my best friend, was because she started being resentful at the fact that like my best friend and I would still be like super close even when I'm not at school, and I was like barely at school. Even when they saw each other every single day and her and I would only see each other every other day, we would still be close. And she realized she couldn't get between that. And I think that's when she turned towards my boyfriend, Aubrey, my ex. So I was getting Chick-fil-A and I was thinking about it, and I was like, when I really, really, really think about it, this bitch wanted my life. She literally tried to steal my life. I'm not kidding. She wanted my best friend, she wanted my boyfriend, she wanted everything I have. She literally wanted my life. She would start fights with my best friend just because, you know, for whatever reason. And basically she would just feel like, oh, we're leaving her out, even though like we didn't. And then in her head, she would like tell Aubrey that like my best friend and I were like plotting on her when we weren't. But I feel like the reason why she was feeling like that was because she knew like her intentions with me and her intentions with Leah, my best friend, wasn't pure. So I feel like in a certain way she was projecting, and projection will get your ass. Whew. So whenever I would post Leah on any of my social media, so if I posted her on like Snapchat or Instagram stories or whatever, I would always get a long ass message from my cousin, and she would just be going off on me. She would just be going off on me, and she'd be like, she's not your only friend, like there's other people in this friend group, like I'm your cousin and you don't treat me well, you don't treat me as well as you treat her. And it would just always be long ass messages, which if I knew how to customize stories by then, I should have customized my story so she couldn't even see it. But at the same time, I didn't care. Like, I'm not gonna let you make me not post what I want to post because you're jealous. So I would like post all the time, and anytime I would post, she would be going off on me in like direct messages. Like I told y'all, like she used to be friends with Aubrey this whole year, maybe before, and she's never posted Aubrey. And ever since like her and my best friend like started fighting, all of a sudden she wants to post Aubrey all the time on her social media. Every single time she's posting Aubrey, and on her Snapchat mostly she'd be posting like Aubrey, and I'm like, okay, that's weird, that's suspicious, but like I wasn't really thinking much off it because again, they were friends. And I'm not thinking like, oh, Nikki's trying to, you know, pull one because that's my cousin, you know. So I'm just like looking past it. I'm not too fixated on it. I don't really care. Until one day my best friend was like, isn't that weird? And then I was like, that is weird. So then I started like peeping it or whatever. When you're like a teenager, but you post everything on social media. So I posted like on my Snapchat and I was like, oh, thanks Leah for always being there for me and buying me food, blah, blah, blah. And I remember specifically this was a Friday. Because I remember getting that text and not replying till Saturday when I had to go to work. So she sends me this long message just about how awful Leah is and how awful I am with Leah and how, you know, Leah treats people so bad and I'm like allowing it, and we've excluded so many people out of our friend group and act like it's just us, which no one cared. Like literally no one cared because everybody else had lives except her. So she was basically pressed about everything, and I feel like at that point she just had nothing going for her, so she was very much in other people's business. And I decided like not to reply, but like at this point I was putting up with so much the entire year. Like the entire school year, anything would happen in our friend group and we would go on Twitter and we would see her subtweeting us. And you know it's you. And you would go on Twitter and see she talking about you while she's sitting right in front of your face. Weird. Like at that point, like all the negativity that happened, all the drama that happened that year, I never said anything about it. Like I never responded. It doesn't matter who was talking about me, what anybody else had to say. I just never responded. And I feel like at that point, she was probably thinking, I'm about to punk this bitch this whole year. But she knows me from freshman year. She knows I can be the devil in human form. I just chose not to be. So the whole night I like slept on it. I didn't respond. The next day I woke up and I was like, bitch, we're gonna respond. we are going to respond. The next morning I woke up and I responded, and at this point it's been like 12, maybe 15 hours, and I responded, and I was just like, dude, like, you cannot blow up my phone every time I post somebody else on my social media. Like, you cannot do that. Like, you're being so irrational. You're being crazy. And I, like, told her that. And she responds in, like, 2 seconds because, again, she was a messy bitch that lives for the drama. So she responds in, like, 2 seconds, and it's a whole book. It's a whole book. Okay? A whole novel. And she's just going off, and you can tell, like, she's angry. Anger that I didn't even feel or wanted to feed into. And she's, like, going off. She's going off. She's talking about my relationship with Aubrey. Again, things that have nothing to do with her. I think we went back and forth for a little bit until I was just like, I'm blocking you. So I blocked her. Went on my Instagram. She's DMing me on Instagram. And then I ended up going on Twitter. And when I looked on Twitter, it's just a bunch of tweets. Obviously about me. It's a bunch of tweets about me. And I'm like, I'm upset, but at the same time, I'm just like, how much do I feed into this? Because I feel like at the end of the day, what she wants is a reaction. And if I give her a reaction, then her actions are justified for being like a crazy evil bitch. So we're gonna fast forward in the story to like basically what the story time is about, because ciao, this is where it gets really crazy. So basically we graduate, everything's done, all the drama is done, she's blocked on everything, we are not friends anymore, and you know, everything's cool, everything's dandy, you know, I'm just living my life. So one day I was like, one day I was on Twitter and I tweeted a little tweet. Not about her, about my life or whatever. On Twitter, I tweeted, like, I miss my man or some stupid, corny, something like that. And Aubrey retweeted it. So then, like, maybe, like, 2 days later, a day later, something crazy like that. Actually, it was probably, like, a day later, because obviously she's a fan. One day, you know, I'm just going around living my life, you know, being a bad bitch, period. And I get a DM. A DM from who, you ask? A DM from her. A DM from Nikki. And I'm like, what does she want now? And I don't think was she blocked? No, she wasn't blocked on Instagram. I thought I did block. Actually, I don't know how she sent me this DM. Let me go to the messages. Because I gotta find it, because I do not want to tell y'all the wrong story. So I get a DM, and it's just some screenshots of some Snapchat messages. So I'm like, When I look at the top of the message, it says Aubrey's name. I'm like, okay. And it's him replying to her Snapchats, and he's calling her a snack. Excuse me, now what? She replies, you're the sweetest. And I'm gonna put these screenshots on the screen so y'all can see that I'm not making this up. This actually happened. This is real life. This is not a joke. Girl, you are replying to your cousin's man saying you're the sweetest, instead of being like, aren't you my cousin's man? Why are you talking to me like this? This shows you that, girl, you and him. He replies, you're the cutest, had to let you know, even though I always tell you. So you always tell her this when exactly? Oh, and let me go ahead and back up, because before I got these messages, like a few days before, we were on FaceTime, Aubrey and I were on FaceTime, and we were talking about the drama. For some reason, it came up. And another thing that was like a red flag on his part is he would always find a way to talk about this bitch. He would always bring her up in somehow, some way, okay? So we're on FaceTime, and he was like, oh, she showed me her My Eyes Only one day in theater. And I was like, okay, so she showed you her My Eyes Only, and you never said anything to me, which, if you don't know what My Eyes Only is, it's a thing on Snapchat where you can hide certain photos. Personally, in my Eyes Only, I hide my pictures where I look crazy as hell. I look like I lost my mind. in her My Eyes Only, she has her nude photos in there, which I know it's her nude photos because she's also showed it to me and my best friend Leah. She's also showed it to us because, again, this bitch cannot hold water. She just be telling everybody her business, everything, okay? So he tells me on FaceTime, this is during the summer, he's like, oh, she showed me her My Eyes Only. And I'm like, okay, that's weird that she showed you that. And again, you never said anything to me about it, which at this point, I didn't tell him I was, you know, being suspicious of him. But this is when I started being like, okay, you're also a piece of shit, okay? This is when I started being suspicious. And then a couple days later, I got the DMs from her. And again, we're going into the DMs. She replies, I've been really aggressive lately about the dating thing, so if I push you away, I'm sorry. Again, you're talking to your cousin's boyfriend. And even if you thought your cousin and him were no longer together, it's still very much weird. It's still very weird. You're giving weirdo vibes. It's giving incest. So she texts those messages to me on Instagram, and she's like, I'm seriously not trying to start anything with you, but I seen that tweet and my blood was boiling because Aubrey really isn't shit. So then she also replies, this was literally Saturday. So I read the messages and I was like, okay, cool, I peep. So I just replied, thank you, because what we're not gonna do is sit here and act like you didn't do anything wrong, because I might be new to this dating game, but at the same time, I peep BS. And the BS I peep is that you're also playing into the situation. And I feel like the only reason why she came to me with these messages was because she saw my tweet, and he was probably leading her to believe, you know, that we were no longer together, and she probably thought like, oh, we about to be together. But then she realized, oh, he's a liar to me, and he's also being a liar to her. And she got her feelings hurt, and that's why she came to me with those messages. It's not because she's like, oh, you're my cousin, I love you, I'm being loyal to you, so I'm showing you what's going on. Like, no. These are ulterior motives. The motives were, you got your feelings hurt. She replies, I'm not interested in continuing a relationship with him, but I had to let you know what was going on. While y'all were together, I could have easily done blah, blah, blah. I'll put the messages up here because I cannot read this no more, okay? And I'm going to finish my edges, and I'm going to tell y'all my thoughts about it. We went back and forth, and I mostly just replied like, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Is that you're sitting here, and you cutting up, and you getting attention from this weird-ass nigga, and you think you gonna come to me about some shit, and I'm gonna be like, okay, you right, you a good person for this. So I just said thank you. You know, I wasn't trying to cut up with her, nothing. Okay, bitch, we is not gonna be kumbaya over the fact that same nigga didn't lie to us. And if any of our family watching this, the reason why we stopped being friends was not over a nigga. It was about the principle of the things that happened. She did a whole lot of fake shit. It was never about him. It was never about him. Okay, so yeah, there was that. And then one other thing that she said in the message that literally triggered me. She said, let's get this straight. When I wanted to F him, it was out of anger, depression, and spitefulness. How you gonna blame being a slimy ass bitch on depression? You cannot blame being a slimy ass bitch on depression. It does not justify. Bitch, I've been depressed. And I've never thought about going out and sleeping with my cousins. Man, I never thought about going out and even talking to my friends. Man, I've never even had the thought that one of my friends' boyfriends was attractive. But she basically tried to blame her wanting to mess around with my ex-boyfriend or boyfriend at the time. And she also said how he said like we weren't together, or she thought, I don't think he said that. I think she just assumed. But she was like, let's get this straight. When I wanted to F him, it was out of anger, depression, spitefulness. Aubrey would always flirt with me in theater, and I would be like, okay, maybe this shit could work. You thought it could work with your cousin's boyfriend? You thought a relationship could work with the boy that your cousin is dating? It's giving, I don't even know what it's giving anymore. It's just giving a whole lot of, and I'm terrified of you, okay, Miss Girl? And we would FaceTime each other and talk each other's ear off about what would happen, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, what the fuck, Abigail, that's gross. At what point did you say that's gross? Because that should have been your first thought. That should have been your first thought. okay? And I just feel like at no point, oh, and let me tell y'all, at no point did she think it was gross. She just got her feelings hurt. Really, that's really the end all be all, is her feelings were hurt that she was not that girl. She was not. She thought she would be different because he was honest with her, but that boy was not honest with nobody, and that boy did not like nobody. He liked anyone that would give him attention, just like her, which is probably why they would be great in a relationship together, because they're both awful people. So basically, that's really what happened. That is the story time about my cousin stealing my boyfriend, or trying to steal my boyfriend. Both of them are just really shitty people. And I also want to add the fact that I never got an apology. I never got an apology from either. Actually, he apologized, but he's a liar, so it doesn't even count. She never apologized, and even when I came home for Thanksgiving break, I like helped her with one of her little projects she had, and she literally acted like nothing happened. And those are the people that you need to be scared of, because those people will murder you. I'm not kidding, they will murder you. Yeah, so I'm like a very forgiving person, and again, I was raised like really well. I was raised to be just so forgiving and unfortunately a little bit naive. So this is my character flaw. This is my downfall, is that I'm too damn forgiving. She never apologized, which honestly, I'm at the point in my life where I don't really need closure from certain situations. It's fine, I'm over it. I no longer talk to her. She's literally blocked on everything. I only unblocked her on Instagram so I could get y'all these screenshots, but she's blocked on everything. We no longer communicate. We just act like we don't even know each other. Him and I are thank God, our relationship was so toxic. We are no longer together, so we gonna have a drink for that one. That's the end of this video. If you guys like these little story times, I will do more. This is like my first little story time, so it might be a little bit unorganized. It might be all over the place, but if y'all like this, if this was a kiki for you, let me know, and I might do more story times, because I do have quite a few more, because my life do be a horror movie. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you so much.